For decades, the Bretton Woods system maintained monetary stability. Established in 1944, it pegged global currencies to the US dollar, which was backed by gold at a fixed rate of $35 per ounce. This ensured economic security, facilitated international trade, and controlled reckless monetary expansion. However, as the United States financed costly wars and expanded social programs, it began printing more dollars than its gold reserves could support. Foreign nations, particularly France under Charles de Gaulle, they named the airport after him, became wary and demanded gold in exchange for their US dollar holdings. As gold reserves dwindled, this system became unsustainable. Faced with economic collapse and an imminent run on US gold reserves, President Richard Nixon made a fateful decision. On August 15, 1971, he unilaterally suspended the dollar's convertibility into gold, effectively dismantling the Bretton Woods system. This temporary measure became permanent, severing the link between gold and paper money. From that moment forward, the US dollar and all global currencies became fiat, backed solely by government decree and public trust. This decision empowered the Federal Reserve and central banks to print unlimited amounts of money without any tangible backing. Inflation surged, the cost of living soared, and the purchasing power of everyday citizens steadily declined. The shift to fiat currency fundamentally changed the global economic landscape, granting central banks unprecedented power over monetary policy while diminishing financial security for the public. The year 1971 wasn't just about a policy shift, it was a financial turning point that dissolved the last ties between currency and real value. Nixon's decision ushered in an era of economic manipulation and perpetual debt. From that day forward, money was no longer anchored to gold, it was backed by faith. And that faith is wavering and wearing thin. For a while, the illusion of stability held. Now, the US dollar remained tied to gold under the Bretton Woods Agreement in 1944, ensuring global currencies were pegged to the dollar, which could in turn be exchanged for gold. Since the abandonment of the gold standard, the world has faced repeated financial crises, inflation, recessions, market crashes, each one exposing the fragility of a system built on ever-expanding debt. Governments and central banks have responded with the only tool they know, printing more money. The result, more debt, more inflation, and a widening wealth gap between the ruling elite and the struggling masses, or as we call them, the haves and the have-nots. Today, the US national debt has surpassed $30 trillion and continues to climb. Central banks worldwide engage in endless rounds of quantitative easing, injecting trillions into financial markets in a desperate attempt to postpone economic collapse. History has shown that every fiat currency eventually returns to its intrinsic value, zero. The only question that remains, how much longer can the illusion last? As societies advanced, so did their monetary systems. History has shown us that fiat currency systems always meet the same fate, collapse. From the hyperinflation of Weimar Germany to the downfall of the Roman denarius, the pattern is undeniable. Governments overspend, print excessive amounts of money, inflation spirals out of control, and eventually trust in the currency vanishes. The US dollar as the world's reserve currency has outlasted many, but its clock is ticking. The next evolution of finance is already taking shape. XRP is emerging as the Uniswap for institutional capital, providing a gateway for liquidity to flow seamlessly between traditional markets and decentralized finance. Tokenization and real-world assets, or RWAs, are set to redefine financial markets, making blockchain-powered liquidity the new standard. Meanwhile, artificial intelligence is transforming every aspect of life, fueling what will be the next great economic revolution. Just as gold underpinned the wealth of ancient empires, AI is the new frontier, and understanding its impact will be crucial. Our upcoming bootcamp in AI will dive deep into this technological shift, equipping you with the knowledge to stay ahead. For decades, the global elites have been laying the groundwork for a decentralized digital currency, one that consolidates financial control over people, assets, and governments. But an unexpected shift is occurring. A new force is challenging the status quo, pushing back against centralized control. Are we witnessing the beginning of a movement that restores financial sovereignty? Could the very digital rails designed for control be repurposed for empowerment and liberation? This bootcamp won't draw premature conclusions, but it will expose the undeniable trends. CBDCs and tokenization are central to global financial plans, yet the forces behind them may not be as they first appeared. The battle lines are drawn. The collapse of fiat is inevitable, but what replaces it? Well, that's an open question. Those who recognize this shift and position themselves accordingly will thrive in the new financial era. The world's financial order is changing, and Brics is leading the charge. Originally formed by Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, Brics, and now Brics Plus, has transformed from a diplomatic alliance into a formidable economic force. With new nations seeking membership and its global influence expanding rapidly, Brics is no longer just an alternative. It's a direct competitor to the Western financial system. The catalyst for this shift? BricsPay, a blockchain-based payment system designed to bypass SWIFT and reduce global reliance on the US dollar. For decades, Western financial institutions have used the dollar as a tool of control, imposing sanctions and leveraging economic pressure. Now countries previously shackled by the system are moving toward decentralized finance, embracing trade settlements in their own currencies. Russia has spearheaded the development of a multi-side payment platform integrating the digital ruble, yuan, rupee, and other Brics Plus currencies, accelerating the de-dollarization trend. With Brics controlling nearly 40% of the world's population and over 30% of the global GDP, its move toward financial decentralization represents more than just a challenge to US hegemony. It signals a complete restructuring of global power dynamics. For years, the dominance of the dollar has given the US the ability to dictate trade policies, exert financial influence, and steer global markets. But now Brics is offering a real alternative, one that seeks to redistribute economic power among emerging economies and diminish the monopolization of global finance. As more countries join the movement, the balance of power is shifting fast. The era of an uncontested Western financial order is coming to an end. The question now is not if Brics Plus will reshape the global economy, but when and by how much. The world sits at a crossroads. Financial system as we know it is crumbling, and those who fail to recognize the shift will be left behind. The dominance of fiat currency is fading, and global powers are moving to cement control over the next evolution of money. But amid this transformation lies an opportunity, a chance for individuals to reclaim financial sovereignty and break free from centralization. For centuries, money has been a tool of power. Those who control its issuance have shaped economies, influenced governments, and dictated the course of history and how it was recorded in many cases. The Federal Reserve's creation in 1913 marked the beginning of the modern debt-based system, where fiat currency became a mechanism for wealth extraction. In 1971, Nixon severed the last tie between the US dollar and gold, turning money into an illusion backed solely by trust. Trust that is now eroding faster than ever. Do you trust your government? As we enter a new financial era, the question is no longer whether the current system will collapse, but rather, what will replace it? Will central banks and global institutions dictate the transition, introducing programmable digital currencies disguised as convenience, or will individuals seize control, leveraging decentralized technologies to opt out of a manipulated system? The rise of central bank digital currencies, or CBDCs, is more than a monetary shift. It's a tool for surveillance and control. With CBDCs, governments will have the ability to track, restrict, and even expire money. Every transaction will be monitored, every financial decision scrutinized. The integration of digital ID systems tied to financial accounts signals the direction we are heading, a future where financial autonomy is stripped away. While Western financial institutions tighten their grip, alternative systems are emerging. Bitcoin and decentralized digital assets provide a parallel economy beyond government control. Once dismissed as speculative, blockchain technology is proving to be the foundation of a new financial order. I was right. It's one built on transparency, security, and decentralization. But breaking free from the fiat-based system requires a fundamental shift in mindset and strategy. Transition won't be easy, and those who cling to outdated financial paradigms will be left behind. To navigate this shift, one must embrace the core principles of financial sovereignty and opt out of fiat dependence. Reducing exposure to inflationary currencies is the first step. Whether through Bitcoin, gold, silver, or tokenized real-world assets, or RWAs, holding tangible scarce assets are essential for financial security. Traditional banking is designed to trap individuals in cycles of debt and dependence, just like our government. But DeFi provides an alternative, permissionless financial tools that enable individuals to earn, lend, and transact without intermediaries. Make sure to control your own assets. Remember, not your keys, not your coins. Relying on centralized exchanges or institutions removes the advantage of digital assets. Self-custody through hardware wallets ensures protection against systemic collapse. Understand tokenization and the new asset economy. You have to understand the future of finance is tokenized. Real-world assets such as real estate, commodities, and securities are increasingly moving onto blockchain networks, unlocking liquidity, accessibility, and decentralization at unprecedented scale. You have to stay ahead of AI and automation trends, because AI is transforming every aspect of the financial system and beyond. Automated trading, smart contracts, and AI-driven investment strategies will dominate the next era. Those who understand and adapt will thrive. Those who ignore these advancements will be left behind. The final choice: do you choose submission or do you choose sovereignty? The coming years will define the future of financial freedom. On one side, global elites push for central bank digital currencies or CBDCs, social credit systems, and centralized AI-driven governance. On the other hand, decentralized technologies, self-sovereign finance, and AI-powered autonomy offer a path to independence. This is not just a transition, it's a battle between those who seek to maintain control over human capital and those who choose financial liberation. The choice is clear: remain in a system designed to exploit and enslave, or embrace the tools that enable sovereignty, independence, and true financial freedom. The history of money has always been about power, but the future is being written now. The opportunity to break free is within reach. The question is, what will you do? Will you take the opportunity? I know where I stand. I've done everything in my power to ensure that the future is one of hope, empowerment, and true freedom, not control and enslavement.